Welcome back to the Forest of Yavimaya. Today we're going to talk about, what is this, deck number 270? I think so. I don't know. Multani, Yavimaya's avatar. I was really happy to see Multani back. The original Multani was kind of balling. This one, pretty good. I think it kind of may still pale to the other one. I don't know. I'll have to see it in play. I haven't had a chance to play this one yet. He gets +1/+1 for each land you control and each land in your graveyard. Now, there's a lot of lands that, sack to do effects, or you can sack to do effects. And if he dies, you can just sack 2 lands. That's really not going to cost you any of power for him. So, with his ability, it does seem like you would want a Crucible of Worlds. I didn't put a Crucible in here. It was hard not to make this Azusa 2.0 because I wanted him to have some kind of difference from Azusa, but the abilities are just so close. Obviously, he's a big, dumb, reachy, trampley guy. So that's where I went with it. So I am playing 50 lands. Now, wow, that's a lot of lands, and I have a lot of stuff to get lands out of the deck. We're going to go through these pretty quick because they are pretty common. Rampant Growth. Nature's Lore is going to get a forest, is it? Yes, it has to get a forest. Secure Tribe Elder is going to get you a basic. Viridian Emissary. It doesn't get you the land till it dies, which is fine. Primal Growth. Now, sacking a dude, we may or may not do that. I don't know. Cultivate, 1 to the hand, 1 to the board. That's pretty sweet. Untamed Wilds. What else? Hey, there's a creature to sack, because once it's actually in play, it's kind of done its thing. So, what I wanted to do is, obviously, you got to ramp out Multani as fast as possible, but I wanted every card I played in some way to interact with him in his power toughness shenanigans. Kodama's Reach. Search for Tomorrow. Eve-Edge. God, I am almost out of Eve-Edge. I think I have 1 more left. Hunting Wilds and Hour of Promise. The Hour of the Promise thing is really nice because you can get 2 any kind of lands, and we are playing with some non-basics, And this is Renewal, though. Got to have them basics. It does double as, some life gain. It's not 6 mana is a lot. It's real close to that the double up land thing, but I didn't use that because I don't have another one. Beneath the Sands. Grow from Ashes. I like it because it's what is that? 5 mana. Does it have to be basic? Basic land. Yeah, so it's 5 mana. So you're paying Hour of Promise mana for 2 basics that are probably tapped. No, it's just put it on the battlefield. That's cool. Natural Connection. Font of Fertility. And I guess now would be a good time to go through the non-basics that we're playing with to show that, we do actually have 4 lands with different names. Playing with the Zhalfirin Void. It's too good. Memorial to Unity. You can find you a dude. Or it just taps for a green. Yeah, it comes into play tapped. It ain't a basic land. It's, Rogue's Passage is going to get Multani in there. Terramorphic Expanse and Evolving Wilds, let's talk about together because they're pretty much the same card. Yeah, these are multipliers. On the surface, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to run them in a mono green deck, but this puts a land in the yard and a land in play. So for the price of 1 land drop, you're bumping your commander 2. Wrath's Edge is a a way to, to ping, if nothing else, because you're not sacrificing Multani's power. As long as you can cast your stuff, which, I mean, with 50 lands and this many search, you're going to be able to. You've got some disposable lands that's not cutting back on your general's power. So, Quicksands, Ash Barrens, because cycling, hello, it's everything you want to do. All of the cycling lands, the Slippery Karst and the Tranquil Thicket and the Desert, because you're discarding them to draw cards. So just by cycling it, you're making your general bigger. So that is it for the non-basics. All the rest of those are basics. Now, Veteran Explorer is like the pie in the sky turn one play, because it's not hard to get people to kill it. And yeah, everybody ramps, but you know what? They ain't ramping nowhere near it to what you're ramping. Summer Bloom is a really good one-shot deal in a 50 land deck. This is the card you want to see in your opening hand, because this is the magical turn two. I mean, if you can Christmas land this Joker out with the Veteran on 1, Summer Bloom on 2, and man, yeah. Sylvan Safekeeper, Shroud. That's a beautiful thing, so that you can sack a land, which we have plenty of that resource to give Multani Shroud, get him in there. Wayward Swordtooth is going to let you play an additional land. I'm out of the Walking Crew, or the not the Walking Crucible, the other one. There's the Theros guy, the y'all know what I'm talking about. You're probably screaming at the thing now. Damn it, Canada, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, but 2 lands a turn. Yeah, if you get the City's Blessing, that's fine. That's obviously not why he's in here. And Molemo. Now, he's just a big old fatty. I mean, that's all there is to it. We're playing with a lot of lands, so I figure why not have another big dude in here just in case we get dealt with. Let's look at some removal-ish kind of stuff. Now, Broken Bond is obviously in there because it is a sorcery speed naturalize, but it allows you to make a land drop, which is beautiful. Speaking of naturalize, y'all know that's present. Creeping Corrosion, because we're playing green. I mean, and there's no reason to not to. We have one artifact in the deck, and that is Horn of Greed. So, yeah, the odds are on both of them together, and I still would probably play both of them together. Anyway, Pierce the Sky is going to shoot down a flyer, hopefully. Wing Snare will definitely shoot down a flyer. Boy, that white border is kind of glaring it when I drop it in there, isn't it? Creeping Mold. Back to Nature. There again, we ain't got a whole lot of enchantments either, so we might as well get funky with it. Now, Black Blade Reforged this seems like it was, made for Multani, even though we all know it wasn't. But mechanically, it just makes him, I mean, it's really good. Of course, it's a lot like the old trusty standby Blanchwood Armor, which just counts Forest. And even worse than, it's like we're going down the list here from worse versions of the same card. But Aspect of the Wolf gives half, This is an old card. It's not amazing, but in this deck, it's not a dead draw. I mean, it's not nothing. It's, plus half your forest, so that's cool. It's nowhere near as good as the best giant growth in the world for this deck. And, of course, if we got a swarm, I'm not above it. Let's look at some of the, I don't know, what we call this, tricksy stuff. We got some land tutors, of course. If we just got to go get our Rogue's Passage. If we just got to get a Rogue's Passage, because the other cards are just whatever. Rogue's Passage You can, in theory, get him up to 21 and start one-shotting people. Sylvan Scrying and crop rotation is going to go find that land that you need to make that happen. Now, explore, card draw ish. I mean, it's 2 mana, you draw 1 card. It's not amazing, but it's what we got. Gaia's Blessing. I am so proud to see Gaia's Blessing back. Normally I would have played with the original, but I wanted to showcase the Dominaria art here. I want to say that this art is a riff off of the original art of it as I remember. But anyway, it's beautiful. It's a great card. It does actually let you draw a card. If only it was an instant. Now, Constant Mist is another card that it's like they read Constant Mist and said, okay, can we design a legendary creature that breaks this card? Because they work so well together. Because, yeah, okay, I don't take combat damage. And you know what? I'll cycle land to buy it back, which don't really hurt my guy. Waiting in the Weeds. Now, this is where, yeah, each player does this. So, I mean, obviously, we're going to have more untapped forests than anyone else. But the story of this card is really funny. These were supposed to be squirrels. When they gave the artist the direction for the card, it was you were not supposed to be able to see the animals. You were just supposed to see eyeballs. And they painted this cat. Susan painted this cat in there, and so they had to adjust the card to make it put cat tokens. Hence the reason why green cat tokens. It's a weird thing. Anyway, wait in the weeds. It's good to flood out some tokens if, the situation arises where we ever need to. Like always, right? Revive, because let's face it, I'm out of Regross, and it's going to get everything we have except for a land or more singular artifact. Let's talk about Rowan. You reveal the first card you draw. If it's a land, you get to draw another card. So, as I said, 50 of your 99, so slightly better than 50% of your deck is a land. So, it stands to reason you could hit this half the time. We have the Wave of Vitriol. Wow, I think I actually said that right. Yeah, it's going to blow up. Granted, this is your panic button, but at least we have a panic button. Now, the Mending of Dominaria. I think this is the first saga I've put in the deck, if I'm not mistaken. The Mending is really neat because you can return all lands to the battlefield. Now, obviously, you're going to play this after you've cycled all your junk and you've got your Terramorphic or whatever, and it's just, you get to return a creature card. It's really good. I think it works for the deck. Now, let's talk about these two. These are the last 2 cards. The original version was called Natural Affinity. And the reason why I'm playing with Natural Affinity is because it is, in fact, an instant. Now, the reason why I'm playing with Natural Affinity is because board wipes happen, okay? And for 3 mana, for instant speed, you can punish the board wipe player. Now, granted, you're punishing the entire table, but just the sheer makeup of our deck, we can come back from a Geddon way better than anybody else. Because if our deck's not land, then it just goes and gets land. So we have a better capability to deal with a destroy all lands card. And, not many people do. So if somebody's trying to wrath away my stuff, and I will, in response, okay, how bad you want to do that? We're going to blow it all up. Lands too. I don't care. Because even when you do recast your general, all those lands are in your yard, and he still counts them. So that's pretty sweet. Now, the last one is from Dominaria, the Sylvan Awakening. Now, I like the fact this is until your next turn. Of course, if this was a instant, it would be busted. But uh, I also like the fact that they are indestructible. Now, if there was only a way to in green to make this, I guess what we could play like Veldok and Ore and put that to make this an instant, because this would be no. It just affects you, so it's not like you can hose somebody. Anyway, this is for when you need to alpha swing. Everybody's been fighting your giant general all game and chump blocking whatever. But no, you can't chump block. He's got trample. But anyway, this is for when the game's got to get over with. Anyway, that's what I have got for Multani. I do appreciate y'all watching. By the way, a little backstory on Multani. He doesn't. The reason why his cards do not look the same, and in every art you see, he kind of looks different. He is not necessarily a corporeal form. He is a spirit, and he just uses whatever vegetation is around him as his body. So it's beautiful in the fact that they can have as many different artists portray him as they want, because he's going to look different. And as a matter of fact, during the great battle, the Weatherlight, where it became the legacy weapon, he infused himself into the Weatherlight's hull and just started healing damage as it happened. It was amazing. Anyway, Big Vorthos, about the original Dominaria storyline. I've been keeping up with it so far. It's great. Anyway, Voice of All, by the way, is the podcast who is reading them. As Wizards releases the story, the guy from Voice of All is reading them. He's got people to do all the characters. It's really great. I haven't really listened to any of his other stuff. I haven't really been intrigued by it. Any of the story until we came home. But I guess that was my unintentional shout out to Voice of All. It's I spend a lot of time driving, so I listen to a lot of podcasts. Anyway, I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, it's time to shuffle and cut.